Ladies and gentlemen, I have the horrible honor job to report to you guys some breaking news from the UK. I mean, it's been out for a couple hours now, but there seems to have been a pretty big and sizable attack. At least something that was pretty shocking for many people in England. Let's get right into this. I'm Tal the Traveling Clat. No jokes for this intro. All right, this is coming from Twitter from Imtiaz Mahmoud. Hunting terror attack in UK. A man armed with a knife carried out a random stabbing attack in coach G of a moving train. Suspects are black males in all black, approximately 30 to 40-year-old, wearing all black clothing. One of them was tasered and both arrested by armed police at the scene. Casualties, 10 people injured. Oh my God, including 9 with life-threatening injuries. Stab wounds to neck, chest, abdomen, 1 with minor injuries. Huntington train stabbers in custody separately are 35 years old and 32 years old British nationals born in the UK of Caribbean descent. Nothing to suggest this is a terrorist incident. That's it for now. Let's take a look.
It all happened within a matter of minutes. This London-bound train rolled out of Peterborough station at 7:30 p.m. By 7:39, the first 999 call had gone in. 2 attackers with knives were storming through the carriages, stabbing passengers. The ordeal ended at Huntington, where armed police were waiting.
There was quite a few people coming through Coach G, and one of the people that were coming through, I had my headphones on, then heard them say, oh, they've got a knife, I've been stabbed. As the police were coming through, like armed police, I said, I think that's the guy, and essentially as they got closer to him, they started shouting, like, get down, get down. He then was waving a knife, quite a large knife, and then they detained him.
Passengers raced through the carriages to try and escape. Others hid in toilets. 9 people are now fighting for their lives in hospital, another receiving treatment. At this stage, we don't know much about the attackers, who they are and why they did this. But what we do know is that this is being treated as a major incident, with counter-terrorism police assisting the investigation.
I think the swiftness of the response, the number of police officers who were on the scene when I arrived was simply staggering. Huntington Station is actually very near to Cambridgeshire Police Headquarters, so you couldn't have asked for a shorter distance for that response to occur. So very reassuring, but at the same time terrifying that this incident has occurred and has occurred in this area.
The Home Secretary cautioned against early speculation. She and the Prime Minister shared their sympathies for the victims. Sir Keir Starmer said, "The appalling incident on a train near Huntingdon is deeply concerning. My thoughts are with all those affected, and my thanks go to the emergency services for their response." That response was swift. It saved lives. But there are still many unanswered questions and many details that are still coming into focus. Gurpreet Narwan, Sky News.
What I don't understand about Keir Starmer. Now, listen, I know I'm not a UK resident, so I don't mean to meddle with your politics and your. But what I don't understand from the Prime Minister, when an attack like this happens, where is the vow for it to not happen again? Where is the vow for this to be the last time? Where is the vow for this to not keep happening? Why do UK residents have to keep dealing with this fear? When is Keir Starmer going to step up to the plate and say this is over? And there's an ad on the tube. Welcome to London. Don't forget your stab vest by Ricky Gervais. Which is insane because as much as they talk about safety from guns and stuff like that, actually stabbing attacks is a massive issue in the United Kingdom, mostly by Muslim migrants, but it's a huge issue. It's a huge and ongoing issue. Let's see here. Here's a witness report from the stabbing. The stabbing attack.
I was in Coach H. I was literally just listening to Audible on my phone, and then I had guys suddenly run past, going, "Run, run!" There's a guy stabbing literally everyone, everything. There was a few of us kind of looking at each other, like thinking it was a joke, like it's Halloween, I'll be pranking. But then you could kind of see in their faces they were being serious. I kind of got my stuff and I was running, and everyone was really pushing behind us, really panicking. And at this point, I was kind of asking questions like, what's happening? Like, who is it? And they were like, a guy's just stabbing everyone back there. Put my hand on this chair, like just trying to push myself forward. And then I look at my hand and it's covered in blood. And then I look at the chair and there's blood all over the chair. And I'm thinking, okay, this is pretty serious. So some of the guys that had ran through to kind of alert us to run, they were the ones who had also been stabbed. So we're running over and getting to the edge of the carriage, still trying to work out who is it, what's their intentions, what's their motives. I just knew they were stabbing everyone, and someone kind of said they thought they had a gun, pulled the emergency alarm, and just trying to work out, can we barricade the doors, can we lock the doors, but we couldn't really. And then by the time I got to the end of the carriage, I realised I was actually at the back of it, and there was about 6 of us. There was a girl, bless her, who was really, really in a bit of a state because the guy had actually tried to stab her, and one of the older guys, who's an absolute hero, blocked it with his head, and he's got this like gash. He had this gash on his head. He's got I think a gash on his neck, and he's kind of giving him like a jackets to keep the pressure on the blood. And while we're doing that, there's a person that I know, and he's kind of looked at me and gone like, have you got anything we can use in case he comes through?
There's at least 10 ambulances, 12 ambulances.
We had a Jack Daniels bottle between us, and that was it. So we're kind of sitting there with one Jack Daniels bottle, just looking down the end of this carriage, just praying somebody doesn't walk down with a knife, with a gun. We didn't really know what was going on.
Horrible, man. This is terrible. This is just terrifying. And again, I don't mean to politicize this, but people were saying globalize the Intifada. What do you think happened during the Intifada? Now, regardless, first of all, I don't understand how they're not calling this a terrorist attack. Regardless of their background, regardless of their religion, whether they were Muslim or not, this is a terrorist attack. It is 100. Doesn't matter that they were Caribbean. They're terrorists. This is a terrorist attack. This is a mass public fear attempt to scare the public, to terrorize the public. It's a terrorist attack by definition. But just for anybody wondering what you've been protesting on the streets of London for the last 2 years, when you talk about globalizing the Intifada, doesn't matter what religion or background you come from. Globalizing the Intifada means globalizing mass resistance, violent resistance against your perceived oppressor. If you are somehow a Caribbean Brit who perceives the UK government as your oppressor, globalizing the Intifada makes this kind of terror attack 100% legitimate. This is what globalized the Intifada looks like. This is what, in Israel, we have been warning against, this kind of behavior. And again, I'm not trying to politicize this terrorist attack that just happened in the UK, because it's horrible, and I don't mean to be politicizing it, but I just want you guys to understand what some of your nation folk have been advocating for, because I know I have many viewers in the UK, and I appreciate you all. My thoughts really are with all of you today. I know this is terrible and very traumatizing. Let's take a look at this CNN report.
British counterterrorism police are investigating a stabbing attack on a London-bound passenger train Saturday evening. At least 10 people were hospitalized, 9 with life-threatening injuries. I want to bring you the press conference from the police. We'll listen in here.
My thoughts are with the family and friends of those who've been affected and those who are injured. At approximately 7:42 p.m. yesterday evening, there were calls to the police service in relation to multiple stabbings which took place on board a train service that departed Doncaster at 6:25 p.m. and was en route to London King's Cross Station. Officers immediately attended Huntington Station alongside paramedics, where armed police officers from Cambridgeshire Police boarded the train and arrested 2 people. Within 8 minutes of the 999 call being made, 2 men were brought into police custody, where they remain this morning. I can tell you that these are the first male, a 32-year-old male, a black British national, and a 35-year-old man, a British national of Caribbean descent. They were both arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. Both were born in the United Kingdom. As stated, they remain this morning in separate police stations for questioning. 10 people were taken to hospital by ambulance, and another person self-presented later that evening. While 9 were initially believed to have life-threatening injuries, following assessment and treatment, 4, thankful to say, have been discharged. However, 2 patients remain in a life-threatening condition.
Horrible.
British Transport Police declared a major incident yesterday, and counter-terrorism policing were initially supporting our investigation. However, at this stage, there is nothing to suggest that this is a terrorist incident. This is a British Transport Police investigation, and we continue to work to establish at pace.
Does anybody understand how they're saying it's not a terrorist incident? What is this? Not the definition of terrorism? This is terrorism.
All circumstances and the motivations that have led to this incident. At this early stage, it would not be appropriate to speculate on the cause of this incident. As you can see, the station this morning remains closed. However, we expect trains to be passing through the station this morning. Passengers will see a high visibility presence of police officers at stations and on trains throughout today, up and down the transport network. Our officers are there to reassure the public and to address any concerns they may have. I'd like to thank the public personally for their patience and their cooperation. Yesterday evening, which has already greatly assisted our investigation through the help the public have tendered, as well as the multi-agency response partners from colleagues in other blue light services. I'd like to extend my thanks to our colleagues within Cambridgeshire Police, the East of England Ambulance Service, Cambridgeshire Fire and Rescue Service, and Counterterrorism Policing. And finally, I'd like to appeal for anyone that's watching who has information connected to yesterday's incident, however big or small you feel that may be, that has not yet spoken to police, to make contact. You can do so by texting the British Transport Police on 61016, that's 61016, quoting reference 663 of the 1st of November 2025. Thank you very much. I won't be taking any more questions, but thank you very much.
All right, we were listening there to the Superintendent of British Transport Police in the wake of that stabbing on a London-bound train. He said that there were two men taken into custody. We got some more details, a 32 and a 35-year-old man, both British-born. He gave an update on the injuries, now two considered life-threatening, and he said there was nothing so far to indicate terrorism. I want to get more now from our correspondent who is with us here. Nick, what did you make of what was said? What did you take from it?
I think this is what we were expecting, the British police to very quickly try to tamp down any speculation, if it was wrongful, about connections to possibility of terrorism. And also, as we've seen them do many times in attacks over the past year and a half, through lessons learned, that they announce very clearly there.
Yeah, here, look, the first comment. I mean, I feel like I'm being totally rational, right? Stabbing 10 people on a train, completely random, is terrorism. Two guys stabbed 10 or more people, but nothing to suggest it's terrorism. This is why we can't believe a word from police agencies or government. Like, what the fuck? I don't understand. This is driving me crazy. You stabbed 10 people on a train. That's definition of terrorism. That is the definition of globalizing the Intifada. That is terrorism.
Details of the people that they arrested. One 32-year-old man whom the officer described as being black, a British national. The other, a 35-year-old British national descent, of Caribbean descent. He said both born in the UK. That's really become a sort of an MO of the police to put a stamp on this and say, this is who we believe the alleged attackers are, so stop speculating about who they are. That's very clear. And also very clearly saying, although the counterterrorism police were involved at an early stage, saying that there's no indication at this point to indicate that this is counterterrorism related. But the short nature of the press conference there, the details only, the no questions, I think, again, is an effort to just sort of provide some information, not get into the realm of speculation, because the police, they're not giving yet an indication of why these two men, or one of these two men, actually perpetrated this attack. Interesting, he said that both men were held at different police stations. That also sort of standard procedure to make sure that there's no no way that the two people who are now being questioned can share and swap stories. So sort of two tracks of investigation going on independently into their accounts of what happened and what additional details the police may learn from their social media backgrounds, their events through the day prior to the attack, all of those things. But it was quite a short press conference, only a few details, and of course, as you say, a recap now on the number of casualties. Initially, 10 injured reported, 9 reported with life-threatening injuries. 4 people, he said, now been, thankfully, he said, discharged from hospital, and only 2 remaining in life-threatening condition. Very serious in of itself, of course.
Yeah. Nick Robertson, really appreciate you bringing us the latest there. Now, for more perspective on this, we're joined from London by Dal Babu, a former chief superintendent for the Metropolitan Police. Thank you so much for being here with us. You commanded firearm operations for the Met Police for many years. When officers stormed that train last night and faced a suspect with a knife, I mean, give us an idea of what would have been going through their minds in those critical moments.
Yeah, so this is a train that was travelling from the north of England to London. During the journey, it became clear that there were 2 suspects. One we definitely know was armed with a knife, who was randomly stabbing people. We know that people had...
Look, I don't know if we need to watch this whole thing. It seems like they're just being repetitive. I'm really not understanding the whole classification of this not being a terrorist. Breaking a witness speaks out of the stabbing unfolded on LNER, changed to Huntington, Cambridgeshire. Tonight, Sky News clip captures eyewitness recount. Let's see if this is the same as what we heard.
I was in Coach G.
Yeah, this is the same as what we heard before, too. The attack is understood to have started shortly after the train left Peterborough Station. Witness said one suspect was a man with a large knife that passengers hid in the lavatories to escape the rampage. Guys, I'm so sorry. I really am so sorry for all of you. I wonder actually if Tommy Robinson has, just curious, I think he's just got back to the UK. I know he's supposed to go to Poland soon, but wondering if he chimed in on this at all today. Oh yeah, here, he's already made a few tweets about it. The hero train driver who helped save passengers' lives during a knife attack at Huntington is a Royal Navy and Iraq War veteran, has been revealed. Andrew Johnson of Peterborough rapidly diverted the London-bound train to Huntington Station after being alerted to the mass stabbing, enabling emergency services to act quick. What a hero. What a hero. I think police now saying there's only one suspect in the Huntington mass train stabbing. So what about the other British-born suspect they emphasize so much about? Why is there no footage? It's all very smoke and mirrors. I'm sure that we're going to have more information on this tomorrow as this develops. God bless that at the moment it seems that hopefully most of the people will make a full recovery. We're praying for those fighting for their lives tonight. We really are in the hospital from this terrible terrorist attack. And this is a terrorist attack. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is a terrorist attack. It is 100% a terrorist attack. I'm sorry that your government, your country is continuously failing to keep you safe. You guys deserve better. You really do in the UK. You need to fight for better. And my heart goes out to all of you. I wish you all the best. And I love you very much. I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. Have a great night.